ever since Morocco's occupation, a sort of political wall has been built around Morocco's agenda of annexation, in fact. And that wall has been built by countries that like to present themselves as champions of international legality, of justice, such as the United States or France or Spain. Those countries within the UN, along with the United Kingdom and Russia, have made up a group that's called Group of the Friends of the Secretary General on Western Sahara. And this small group, in fact, is the group that decides what gets done or not done by the UN in Western Sahara. It's a self-appointed group. There's no official standing, but de facto, they are moving the agenda. Okay. Now, this group is striking in its composition. There is no single African country in the group. Many of you might have noticed that Western Sahara is in Africa. There is no single member that had gone through the experience of decolonization in the spirit of the 1960 declaration. So there is a major responsibility there, of course, but it would be wrong to attribute all the responsibilities for UN failing to that group. If they can behave the way they do, it's because of the indifference or connivance of other members. A lot of silence, a lot of acceptance, a lot of parallel interests, whereby, and this, by the way, does not happen only in the United Nations. It happens at the European Union, in many other fora. In other words, there is a small leading group, and the others choose silence for different reasons. Now, this has to be, this kind of pattern must be broken. The Geneva Group of Friends is an example. More needs to be done. It is imperative that more member states in the UN and elsewhere get engaged on the right side of international legality, on the right side of the value of the UN Charter, and on the Declaration on Decolonization. How to draw them in? There are many ways. This is not the time to go into the details of it. It's not just the argument, which is the paramount one of the rights of the Sahrawis, but there are considerations related to international peace and security, or conflict prevention, all sorts of other considerations. This is one item in general nature on the UN context. But I thought I would enter into a couple of more specific aspects that pertain to the recolonization as it is or should be pursued within the UN. One is one of language, it was mentioned already, but language matters. In the early days, when the UN discussed the question of Western Sahara, the emphasis was on the declaration, was on the principle of the charter, on what is all what pertains in terms of international legality to the rights of self-determination. And in that language, in that context, either implicitly or explicitly, Morocco was seen as the obstacle for the international community to do the right thing in Western Sahara. Now, this language has changed, as we were reminded. Now we talk about mutually acceptable political solution as such. This is profoundly wrong because, in a way, it puts both sides on the same level. We are being told that more or less both sides have some legitimate expectation after this. They should sort it out among themselves. Okay, so there is no longer an occupier, an occupied, an oppressor, an oppressed, one party that violates international legality, and a party that suffers the consequences of it. No, the effort and the logic is more or less to put them on a similar footing. This is not a minor matter because I just give you some of the implications. One obvious is that the Security Council or the UN in general is washing its hands of the issue. It says it's up to them. Now, this is not correct. The Security Council retains the paramount responsibility of settling the issue in accordance with international legality. It's too easy to hand it over to the parties. In doing so, the Security Council renounces its paramount mandate in terms of international peace and security. Another consequence is that this kind of language is slowly seeping into the public perception in the media,